Welcome, everyone. We're delighted that you've joined us for today's webinar. We have 3 panel discussions for you today. The first is focused on the use of business messaging for M&Os, sales and customer care operations. The second one on revenue growth through business messaging. And the third on promising areas for telcos to adopt generative AI. Each panel comprises a set of industry-leading experts. And if you have any questions for them during the discussion, please post them in the Q&A window, not the chat window. At this point, let me invite Julian Gorman, Head of GSMA APAC, for introductory remarks. Julian, over to you.
Thanks, Rahul. Hope you can hear me quite well. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed speakers and distinguished guests, thanks for joining us today at GSMA webinar, as Rahul mentioned, around business messaging, a new growth engine for telcos. And we're going to take you on a journey through an increasingly complex and exciting, I think, dynamic universe for mobile network operators of business messaging. Mobile network operators obviously have a long history in messaging, which can cast a shadow over management boardrooms and product portfolio strategies to this day. But we must acknowledge that mobile network operators play a pivotal role in shaping the future of messaging communications, not only as the network enabler, or the service provider, but also as a reference user for enterprise, government, and society across the digital economy. In just over 30 years since the invention of SMS, messaging has transformed the way we interact with each other and the world around us. But as the global mobile economy has raced past 5% of global GDP and our lives have become more dependent and reliant on digital, messaging has become the enabler that defines our communication preferences, actually. There's been a number of years now since I first observed the rise of the messaging-only user in Indonesia. At the time when I spoke to management about it, it was considered quite a startling observation that people could possibly use phones and only use messaging and messaging and the internet. But today, whole segments are indicating that messaging is the preferred and sometimes only communications channel that they'll use. So it's undeniable that trends in messaging are really changing the way, the opportunity for mobile operators, not only what the services provide, but how we engage with our customers. So we all have our own personal preferences. I can confidently assert that everybody on this call uses multiple messaging platforms every day. And I'm sure many of you will send and receive multiple messages during this webinar. Advanced messaging is now synonymous with smartphones. By example, WhatsApp user base expands multiple continents, transcends language barriers and digital skills. Its end-to-end encryption and other features continue to be added to, and it enhances the messaging product universe. So as an industry, we must embrace a world where the average user now has 3 or more messaging platforms on their device. As an industry, we must embrace the rise of conversational commerce and its effectiveness in closing the usage gap. And we must learn from our failures in the past and ensure that we preserve and nurture digital trust in the messaging universe to ensure that it continues to make a positive contribution to the development of sustainable, inclusive digital nations. So there are many ways to measure success and failure of messaging platforms. And today we've assembled a number of panels of industry experts and leaders from across the world to share with you their experience and insights. And I'd like to thank all those speakers and panelists for being part of this discussion. I'd also like to thank Meta for supporting this webinar, which is part of our new APAC FinTech Forum initiative, which we launched in Singapore in a couple of weeks' time at the Digital Nations Summit on the 25th of July. And with this background, I invite you to all actively participate, learn and challenge during this webinar, as the mobile industry is undergoing a period of rapid change in the messaging ecosystem. Many of the SMS use cases to enable digital identity and transactions are being challenged. At the same time, Gen AI and other technology innovations are injecting energy to create a new era of messaging. So it's creating conflicts and differences of opinion, but overall, messaging is clearly a critical variable for achieving the potential of the mobile economy. So as we explore this debate today, let's seek a future where seamless communication transcends device boundaries, benefiting both users and operators alike. And we embrace the need for collaboration and understanding and a commitment to a safe, secure, and sustainable future of digital nations and the critical role that messaging plays in that future. So thank you. And over to you, Kevin.
Thank you, Julian. for the opening speech, and thank you, Rahul, for starting the whole session. So the first panel, let me firstly welcome my esteemed panel. The first one is actually Vikas Menon. He's the Director of Telco Ecosystems Partnerships in Middle East and Africa for Meta. Welcome, Vikas. Next, we have Ritesh Singh, who is the Director and CCO for Indosat Ooredoo Hutchinson. Welcome, Ritesh.
Hi,
And
guys.
last but not least, we have Rabia Fatima. She makes the gender equality quite fair now. Thank you for joining us, Rabia. She's the Director of Youth, Data and Acquisition for Ufone. Okay, how I'd like to start this is basically I would not, read your bio out, but instead of that, I'll let the three of you all briefly introduce yourself in your current role and how it is related to today's topic of discussion, which is basically revolutionize telco sales and customer care with the messaging platform. So why don't we start with Vikas and then we go to Ritesh and then Rabia.
Perfect. Thank you, Henry. I hope I'm audible. Can you guys hear me? Fantastic. Thank you once again, GSMA, for having me here. I'm really honored to be here with Ritesh and Rabia. I'm actually excited to hear more from them than we at Meta can tell you about this experience and journey, because they're the ones who have actually been building this future for the customers, for the millions of businesses out there, and for us. But quickly, by introduction, my name is Vikas. I'm based out of Dubai. I've been with Meta for 9 years, and I have the lovely pleasure of leading our telco partnerships teams across Middle East and Africa. And essentially what we do is we work with the telco partners similar to Indosat and Ufone in the region to be able to really build strategic partnerships with them across a variety of areas, right? We start out with helping them really on the journey of getting more data subscribers on their networks. What we really care about, which is digital inclusion, building community, connecting the world. And that's now transpired over the years to actually finding ways to unlock value for our telco partners, whether it's providing insights or even what we're talking about here on the business messaging side, which is a really big bet for us. I want to take a step back and sort of answer the question you were talking about as well, right? Look, for years, we've seen our telco partners really make strides in digitizing their businesses, and more importantly, digitizing the way they communicate with their customers, right? Across a number of channels, there's a lot we have to learn from them. Being the partners we are, we've always want to actually have a skin in the game and innovate with them. And therefore, we've also invested a lot to try our best. As Julian mentioned, there are tons of messaging platforms out there. We all use each of them, but try our best to make sure that Facebook, Messenger, WhatsApp play a key role and sort of become that channel of choice for the telcos as well as the customers, right? As a result of that, for the past 3 to 4 years, on the request of a lot of our partners, we've got into innovative acceleration programs on the WhatsApp journey, where we really work with our telco partners, one, to be able to share, innovate, build the future of what messaging looks like. And in that effort, sort of unlock the superpower that is WhatsApp, which brings me to my last point. All this really only matters because we've heard from our users, much like all of us. I'm sure we've had multiple conversations on WhatsApp before getting on this call this morning, that WhatsApp is really that powerful tool. We've heard from small enterprises, medium enterprises, and large organizations that this is really where this is what they see as a channel of communication or channel of choice for their customers. And with about 2 billion users on a monthly basis globally, we can only understand why WhatsApp does bring that power to that omni-channel communication angle. And again, thank you very much for having me. I look forward to hearing more from the panel as well as supporting the conversations here.
Thanks, Vikas. Ritesh, can you go
Thanks.
next?
Hi, thanks a lot for being here and inviting me. I'm Ritesh. I am part of the commercial team here in Indosat, which is the 4th largest market in the world in terms of population. And this market has been growing over last 5 years, 6% and 5-6%, and Indosat is growing double than industry growth, primarily because of the reason of our vision and mission, which states that we want to be closer to the consumers. And what does it mean? That we want to go where customers are going rather than expecting them to come to us. And hence, messaging is one thing which is closer to our heart, if you look at my example, whenever I wake up early in the morning, first thing which I do is I pick up my phone and check my messaging, WhatsApp. I think how many messages have been dropped since I was sleeping. I don't want to miss out on something on that, right? So it's part of our strategy that we want to go where customers are going rather than expecting them to be here. And that is why I'm here for this panel. Over to you, Henry. Kevin.
Thanks, Ritesh. I know those days, BlackBerry was the #1 app which was being used in Indonesia compared to everything else, So messaging is very key in Indonesia, and rightfully said. Okay, next, last but not least, Rabia, please share your.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me over here. I am Rabia Fatima. I am Director Youth Data and Acquisitions at Ufone 4G. In my current role, I oversee the complete segments and the partnerships domain. My background spans over 11 years of experience in multiple industries. Right now, we are focusing largely on commercial strategy, customer segmentation, product pricing, and driving the revenue growth through enhanced user experience. So one of the projects that we spearheaded recently with the help of Meta was to launch a WhatsApp bot for Ufone 4G. This project has helped us revolutionize the customer care services for our subscribers. And we believe that by leveraging the capabilities of messaging platforms like WhatsApp, we have been able to provide much better and seamless customer care experience to the subscribers, while also driving our sales through personal and interactive communication. I look forward to hearing from you all and sharing more insights and discussing how we can continue to innovate in this space.
Thank you, Rabia. Okay, so let's start with Vikas. Can you please set the context, right, of the discussion by sharing Meta's perspective on the size of the market and key features of the business messaging platforms out there that would attract, CSPs to adopt the solution?
Perfect. Thank you, Kevin. This is an interesting question and difficult not to kind of bring in the personal experiences as Ritesh already has, right? I feel like I'm preaching to the choir over here amongst the telco colleagues, as well as us all being users of WhatsApp. The first things we do in the morning are basically wake up to a ton of good morning messages, at least from my family and everybody else. I think the power's already there. But let me share a few numbers just to kind of set context over here, right? WhatsApp is now represented in over 180 countries with what I mentioned earlier as 2 billion monthly active users. But I think the more important point over here is, just so you have an idea, in markets such as Brazil, 100% of the WhatsApp users are actually active users, and 100% of that active usage is actually pretty heavy usage. To just take a pause and think about that for a minute, right? That's absolutely incredible. And you can see how the scale and power of that is becoming really global, right? If you take it a step further from a commerce, from a business perspective, right, there's about 600 million conversations going on between people and businesses every day. I really have to repeat that again. There's about 600 million conversations going on between people and business every day. I always talk about this in the context of your average storefront, right? Imagine you were able to have so many conversations at scale with your customer, right? Except now you're doing it at 10x that scale or 100x that scale. You're able to also customize it for a fraction of the cost with AI and everything else we build in. And really, to what Ritesh and Rabia said, meet the customers where they want to be met, right? So the power is really immense. Today, we see not just telcos, but a lot of other customers use WhatsApp for all kinds of use cases, from, upgrading users from, prepaid to postpaid, to being able to actually help them with marketing, notifications, authentication, and even, being able to sort of reach them in terms of when they need for support and services, right? All this supported and backed up by pretty high throughput, pretty high volumes by the cloud. And essentially, these type of things make WhatsApp a really ideal channel for telcos to engage with their customers for everyday use cases, some of them which I mentioned earlier, but even things like holiday promo, device sales, top-ups, and customer cares, right? So in addition to what is the addressable market, I think the ability to be able to have these conversations customizable at scale with the power of AI really make it a powerful channel.
Thanks, because that's really great numbers that you've shared with us. The audience at least can understand the size and the business opportunity there. Following up on the first question, can you also share some commercially available use cases together with corresponding tangible or measurable outcomes, if you can?
Absolutely. Happy to share. So look, as I mentioned earlier, and I'm sure we'll hear later from Ritesh and Rabia about the use cases they have done, but let me share about what we're seeing from other telcos, right? Ideally, I'd put it in two buckets. We've seen telcos do everything on one side from actually working on top line sales and acquisitions, right? This is the example of converting users from prepaid to postpaid. And then we've seen the other side, what I would call in terms of support, in terms of reaching customers where they have bill reminders, being able to basically service support queries. As an example, for the first bucket, we've seen, a telco, Vivo Brazil, running a campaign in Brazil with on their Facebook and Instagram page, essentially to initiate WhatsApp conversations powered by their own AI to be able to answer questions and therefore convert and make sales, right? And this campaign basically saw a 3x conversion in terms of conversion start rates. Similarly, for the second bucket, where I spoke about support, right? We've seen MTN Ghana in my neighborhood over here deploy WhatsApp for customer care, which essentially initially saw a 3 to 4x increase in agent productivity, which is amazing if you think about the complexities and the OPEX costs and the challenges that is, the modern customer care center for a telco. And then finally, I would be remiss not to share, thanks to Ritesh's leadership and his team with Indosat, we've seen about 92% of customer inquiries handled entirely via the bot and WhatsApp. I'm certain I'm only scratching the surface over here when it comes to talking about the use cases. And really, this is where our telco partners and telco community have taught us a lot of the things which we did not, take into consideration or factor in when we started on this journey of WhatsApp becoming that channel of choice for business interactions and commerce.
Thank you, Vikas. Okay, then now I think Rabia, from a CSP, right, who is just starting to embark on this business messaging journey, why have you all decided going down this path? And what was needed actually to convince management to proceed in this manner?
Okay, thank you for the question. Our decision to embark on the business messaging journey with WhatsApp was driven by several key factors and challenges that we were facing at Ufone. We were the late entrants into the 4G market. We had a primarily voice-centric customer base, many of whom used Ufone as a secondary SIM. So we needed to create a shift and make our strategy in a way that our focus is towards more data-driven services, and we wanted to enhance our value propositions to retain and attract more customers. Our existing customer engagement channels were heavily reliant on SMS messaging, which we found to be increasingly inefficient. SMS lacked the interactivity and the personalization that the modern customers expect and want. So we had a limited ability to effectively communicate and engage with our customer base. Similarly, at that point in time, our customer app wasn't performing up to the mark as well. We were not able to engage with a lot of subscribers on the app, so we were not able to provide them with a robust and interactive communication channel. And during all of this, and while we were facing these challenges, we started having discussions with Meta. And with the help of the team, we explored multiple use cases, and somehow this WhatsApp acceleration project was offered to us. And we started building the WhatsApp bot for our subscribers. The insights that were shared by the Meta team, we used those insights and the use cases and the success stories that they have to convince the management. The main pointers were that we will be able to enhance the customer engagement. We will be able to then provide them with more personalized messaging. We will make their lives easier and their experiences better. And after incorporating all of these benefits, we were able to convince and get the buy-in from the management very easily. Now, embarking this journey with WhatsApp has allowed us to transform our customer care and sales process in much more efficient manner. And we are more aligned with the expectations of a more digitally savvy customers, and we are able to fulfill their needs and demands more effectively.
Okay, thanks, Rabia. Okay, moving on to Ritesh, right? Y'all are very different. Y'all are an advanced user of business messaging, right? We heard from Rabia as, beginning the journey, how to go about it. So as an advanced, a user of business messaging, which will help Rabia as well, internally within your company, can you share your journey, lessons learned, and success indicators if applicable?
Yeah, thanks again for this question. So this service economy is changing. It's ever changing now. I think every company talks about marvelous customer experience, and that's going to be the differentiator, right? And while doing so, sometimes we forget what exactly it means for the consumers. So this journey started, I think it was pandemic. Again, during pandemic, everybody wanted to be reaching to the consumers when the shops were shut, and our channels were also like limited to our own consumers. Also, for example, application like Rabia was talking about, app was not performing as per the task. But we wanted to sell SIM card also, right? How will you sell SIM card when you already have the customers, right? So where you will go? You'll go to some third-party platform, and WhatsApp is one thing which was very popular in Indonesia. Till today, also it is the one of the most favorable application for the consumers. For example, I was going through the Nielsen report day before yesterday, and the customer satisfaction score for voice was low. So I was talking to my team, customer experience team. Why do you think that this voice call is satisfaction score is low, whereas our voice call on mobile is going down and down, and we have got enough capacity available? Then he said, whenever we talk to customer in terms of voice call, they refer to WhatsApp voice call. So I think the data was not that great. So in that market, that is why this. So this is how things are changing. Then we realize, okay, though during pandemic, we have to be making sure that we reach to the consumers in rightful way. And WhatsApp was the one channel which we chosen. And we started building our application on that. And as Rahul was also talking about, that 92% of our interactions are being shorted on that bot. What we also did is started putting our hot promo. What is hot promo? Is like a contextual offer. For example, if you're using video platform more, so I can offer you some OTT platform, especially talking to you. So we have integrated our CVM platform there, and we started offering consumer value management. At the same time, top-ups were also like shops were closed, consumers were not going out in the market. How do we make sure that we are actually offering not only on our channel, some other channel also, because sometimes customer might be using Wi-Fi. WhatsApp numbers remain the same. The number may not be active, but because of WhatsApp number is there, they were able to buy recharge packs also. And since then, 2021, I think every year we are growing 100% plus. So the revenue growth is like 100% plus, and we are moving towards a significant amount of revenues are coming from WhatsApp channel. What are the lessons learned? So the first 3-4 months, the growth was not as big. But since Indonesia is a market wherein people are using e-wallet more, we started integrating e-wallets. The moment we integrated e-wallet on channel, we saw immediate jump on our WhatsApp adoption, WhatsApp bot adoption. The second thing was learning was the UI UX should be perfect. So we started putting buttons in WhatsApp bot rather than a text. So for example, you put top up is written, you click in and call to action is immediately, you can go and buy and you can fulfill. Buy SIM card. So you just click a button, it's a text button. So UI UX was improved. And application, and then third one was very, very important. How do you make sure that customers top calling reasons are being captured, and those queries are being resolved within the app, when he doesn't need to leave the app and go somewhere else to pay or get the query resolved. So those are the lessons learned, which and the major use case for us are top-ups, hot promos like contextual offer, wherein some of the products are available only on WhatsApp channel. And third one was postpaid bill payments. For example, customer don't need to go out and make the payment. So these are the three use cases. These are the lessons learned. And finally, the satisfaction score on that platform, on WhatsApp platform, is around 72 now. When we started, it was 50, and then we kept on improving. Now it is 72 is our customer satisfaction score on WhatsApp channel. And this year also in 2024, we have seen 100% growth over 2023 on a larger base. So that has become one of the channel, and it is also following our study that going where consumers are rather than expecting them to come to us.
You know, Ritesh, these numbers and these lessons learned is really fantastic. You know what I thought about? You can actually offer new CSPs who are onboarding this business messaging consultancy. Indosat Ooredoo can do consultancy on how to onboard and, don't go through all these issues and, bypass all these pain points.
Yeah, as we
So-
speak today, I think I just came here to this meeting where in our one of the opcos of Ooredoo, they're sitting with us and they want to import this technology to their opcos and implement it in other opcos. So 3 opcos are already taken up this solution as a whole. So
That's fantastic. Hopefully you can get out of the group as well and do for other companies. Okay, next question. It will be both for Rabia and Ritesh. Basically, what are your expectations for business messaging in the coming future for your organizations?
So I'll go first. Our
Basically, it's your wish
expectations.
list. Don't
Yeah.
forget Vikas is here, so give him a tough time and put all the unimaginable stuff that you require.
No, completely understood. So our expectations are quite ambitious as we see it as a pivotal element in our digital transformation strategy. The key areas where we anticipate significant impact in the growth are enhanced customer experience. We will be able to provide subscribers with a more personalized customer experience that goes beyond traditional channels. By leveraging the WhatsApp, we expect to provide them with real-time support, proactive notifications, tailored promotions. So there are a lot of subscribers who, after monetization or after a product change, leave our product, right? So we can provide them promotions right there and then, or maybe a more tailored product as per their requirements and as per their needs, because we do have all of the data available. We want to make sure that the subscriber feels valued and well served. It doesn't feel in a way that we're not there and we're not looking at what the subscriber needs are. In addition, we want to somehow start increasing the customer engagement on our network. Right now, one major problem that we have, that activity days of a subscriber on our network are still very low. They're less than 18 number of days that they spend on our network. So we want to increase the number of active days. Secondly, we want to make sure that for a voice subscriber, they start using data as well and vice versa. For that, we want to be able to engage with the subscriber in a more engaging and an interactive manner. And we believe that using the rich media and the interactive message or the video messages that we can offer them through the WhatsApp channel, by using them, we will be able to keep our customers more informed and connected. Similarly, we believe that with the help of all of the data-driven insights that we get from our BSPs, we will be able to study more about the customer behaviors and their preferences. And this will help us further refining our customer strategy, our customer acquisition strategies, our optimizing our offerings, and making more informed business decisions. In addition, at the end, obviously, revenue growth is very, very important for all of us. So we want to make sure that by offering the targeted promotions and the tailored opportunities to a subscriber, we are giving them some upselling opportunities as well, so that we can enhance our revenues from this channel. And with the help of Meta, we are continuously expanding the use cases on the bot. And we believe that we should be able to launch some loyalty programs as well, so that the subscriber feels more valued while they're communicating with us through WhatsApp channel, and they can earn some rewards against any transaction or any number of communication that they do with us. And we can use WhatsApp as our core communication channel within the business. In summary, our basic strategy is to transform into a cornerstone of our customer engagement strategy, driving higher satisfaction, loyalty, business growth. So yeah, pretty much all of it.
Thanks, Rabia.
thanks,
Ritesh?
Rabia. Yeah. So I'll give you one example. I'm working with a telco, and I've got 2 brands. One is talking to Gen Zs and youth, and second one is millennials and above. My daughter is Gen Z, and I've asked her to use my prepaid connection. And ask her to share her experiences with me. So generally, what she does, she has a e-commerce platform from where she gets her top-ups done, and sometimes she uses banking channel also. Sometimes she uses our application. Other day, I was just talking to her that what are you doing? And you did not top up your phone. I was just checking. I said, no, Dad, actually what has happened, I have bought a new package on WhatsApp. And it was actually allowing me to have Netflix at cheaper price. So, and then WhatsApp, it's integrated to CVM channel, as I told you. So there's some contextualization. So CVM guys, it means they've been working nicely to get some offer there. So she bought a pack where she got 15% discount on Netflix package. So that gave us a confidence that, okay, what is next? We have been doing well, and now, so in WhatsApp bot, what we want to make sure that we want to make it more simpler, more transparent, and more product and services, and more contextualization. So it should feel that like my daughter is feeling that, okay, this is the platform where I can go and get things which is not available otherwise in the market. Then it can become a good platform for us. Second thing, we have also seen some of our customers who are using WhatsApp on my SIM card, but they're not recharging their mobile, but they're still using WhatsApp using my number. So I can actually, we are looking for giving some special contextualized offer, which is much simpler for them, to make sure that we are bringing those customers back to our network. So this is the future plan for us as of now, Kevin. Yeah.
Excellent. So sorry, I think we are running out of time. So thank you all panelists. If you like to just, one sentence or two sentences, you'd like to summarize for the, audience, what is the key takeaway? Vikas, Ritesh, Rabia, I give it to you right now.
So,
go ahead, Vikas, if you like to say. Or Ritesh, go ahead. You first.
Ritesh, go ahead, please.
Yeah. So the most difficult thing in this world is to do simple things. And I think WhatsApp is helping us making things simpler. So in nutshell, we want to make things simple in terms of offering product and services to our consumers.
Thank you, Ritesh. Vikas, you want to go?
I'll let Rabia go first and I can come back.
Okay.
I have said it all. So because
Yeah. She gave the whole summary already.
yeah.
Perfect. Look, I'll just say maybe three things. One, I want everyone to rest assured, and that was what I was going to talk about. In terms of the investments you're making for the future in WhatsApp, it is a big bet for us, right? Just as AI is. And we spoke about personalized experiences, both Ritesh and Rabia did. That's really what we want to build at scale, powered by AI, so that, again, we can meet the customers where they are. The last 2 points are, one, again, thanks to folks like Ritesh and Rabia for really pushing us and innovating with us and showing us even the greater and broader potential, right? Because nobody knows their customers like our telco partners do. And they've really educated us on what those marvelous experiences should look like. Finally, I'll just say, if you're already on the program with us, thank you very much for supporting. And if you're not, you obviously should reach out to your Meta representative. You already heard from Ritesh and Rabia on the value of this. And I also understand Ritesh is offering free consulting on how to build the best bot. So there you go.
Okay. Dear panelists, can you, there's some questions in the Q&A before you all leave the session. See whether you can answer some of them. I'm not sure that your colleagues might have already answered, but just please have a look at the Q&A. Thank you again, Vikas, Ritesh, and Rabia. Great panelists. Thank you for your insights.
Thank you so much.
Kevin, thanks.
Okay, next we will have panel 2. Panel 1 was basically, how CSPs use it internally, either for cross-selling, upselling, customer service. Next, we have how CSPs are basically evolving and using this service to be a tool for them to sell out to their business enterprise customers. So I'll introduce Paul Kim, which is the VP of APAC Telco Partnerships from Meta. Then we have Ahmad Omar. He's the head of EngageX at EN Enterprise. Hi, Ahmad.
Hello,
And finally,
hi.
last but not least, again, it's Yap Kok Leong, who's the CEO of One Engage. All right, already. So, okay, like the first panel, I'd like to just make sure we start off by asking the three of you to briefly introduce yourself in your current role, right? And how it is related to today's topic, right, of discussion, which is power revenue growth by being part of WhatsApp ecosystem. So can I start with Paul, then move to Omar, and then KL?
Sounds good. Kevin, thank you for this. Thank you and the GSMA team for giving us this opportunity. And KL, good to see you. And Ahmed, looking for this chat. My name is Paul Kim. I'm part of Meta's Telco partnerships team. Essentially, what that means is we build long-term and sustainable partnership with the mobile ecosystem by jointly creating and innovating new programs that serve our customers together. Over the past little while, we know that telcos have been spending a lot of time thinking about new businesses, especially digital transformation. And topic for today has been that, which is building new businesses. And WhatsApp as a business messaging solution has been a great opportunity to collaborate together to serve the customers that we have together. So very much looking forward to this chat. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah.
Omar?
Hello, hi guys. Good morning or good afternoon, depends on your location. This is Ahmed Umar, all the way from Dubai, UAE. I'm the head of an entity within a technological conglomerate called EAND. So we've even repositioned the group company of what's known formally as Etisalat, the telco, to something called EAND, which is Etisalat and more represent the different areas of the technological trends. I'm covering all the customer engagement solutions in the group, covering 36 countries, which is the landscape of the telco, diversifying also the portfolio of the
Oops. I think Omar is frozen. KL, you want to go first? Then when Omar comes in, maybe you can jump back on.
Okay, sure. So I'm KL.
Business.
I'm taking care of the One Engage. We are based in Jakarta. So we are a telco company that build conversational platform that help brands or enterprise customer to create, keep, and monetize their first-party data. So obviously, in this forum, we are Meta Global BSP. We are very focused on using WhatsApp to achieve this objective. Why we are in this forum, I think probably we are invited due to previously we are part of telco, and now we are independent company focusing on this business. Maybe a lot of our colleagues from the same industry want to find out how and why we migrate from being a division in the telco and think this is a good business and become an independent company, fully self-sustained now. Yeah.
Thanks, KL. Omar, you got cut off very
I
rudely.
cut off on
So
the wrong time. Apology, guys.
no worries.
So am I
Continue where you
audible?
left
And
off. Yes, yes,
it's
loud
it's
and
my
clear.
VPN. This is the extra
Right.
security that we had in the company. I think something close to what Kelly have explained. So I'm covering this entity, part of the telco group called Engage X, which is only focusing at customer engagement solutions across the consumer journey, all the way from awareness until loyalty or continuous engagement. So we cover all the MarTech, CRMs, business processes, automations, contact center support, which is also including different channels of messaging and non-messaging, voice, video, and other components. That's it. And I'm disconnected again.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
have to kill
I
me.
think his VPN is giving problems.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll
let's.
just remove it totally. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Thanks, Omar. Okay, Paul, can you please share, right, from a global and regional perspective, what is the size of this business which CSPs have embarked on this journey of selling business messaging to their customers already?
Great. I think there are a number of analyst reports trying to scope and size the market. And to be really honest, I think this market could be infinitely large. but I can put some perspectives, and we talked about this in the previous session, some of these. As a number of users, we know, and thanks to the collaborations we've had together with mobile industry, WhatsApp is widely used. We count upwards of more than 2 billion users on the platform, engaging and building connections with their loved ones as well as businesses around them. And so we know it's a very large base, and we know it's an actively engaged base. What's more interesting is thinking about number of people who want to interact with businesses. And Vikas mentioned this earlier today. 600 million conversations happen with businesses every day. And 600 million business conversations. So think about all the people who want to come and have those conversations. And if we look at surveys and we actively make sure we understand our users, 50% of users really prefer having conversations through these channels for a number of reasons: efficiency, speed, convenience. And so a lot of conversations are moving in this direction. Coupled with that, we know that the momentum for businesses wanting to be part of these conversations are increasing. However, at the same time, there just aren't enough expertise. And so one of the areas that we've been working very closely is with the mobile operators, because we know we have expertise. Mobile operators know how users connect. We have the expertise to build those connections. And so over the last 2.5 years, we at Meta have been actively working with key partners like OneEngage and the EngageX, and to be able to build solutions that serve our users. And in that short period of time, we have enabled a number of mobile operators. Esteemed colleagues here have been along that journey. Aside from them, Airtel, Axiata Group, Indonesia, for example, and Kay will talk about it, is an active market. All 4 major telcos are already part of Business Solution Provider program, and we know this market will continue to grow.
Thanks, Paul. At least it sets the context. Next question will be both for you, Ahmad and KL, right? What was your motivation or your company's motivation in making the decision towards pursuing this path?
Omar, Omar,
Yeah, I
please.
think I'll take the advantage of having no VPN connectivity. Apology, again, for the audience. In fact, the decision came directly from the overall vision of the group. So as you know, the telco business was always the cash cow. It was a single source of growth, and the diversification was needed. And a cautious decision has been taken by the company to convert the whole group into a conglomerate of businesses that focus at different areas and dismantle some of the components so they will be focused at the different industries or different areas of business. And we've been into entertainment, cybersecurity, cloud services, and here we go for the customer engagements. The derivative of this line of business within the telco came purely because of the worry about having less growth in the standard telco services. And maybe we should start with the A2P messaging, talking about the conversion that's been taken in this business. Everybody was worried that the SMS and the A2P messaging might die in the time. Unfortunately, it's not the case because of the COVID and what has happened in the contactless engagements. However, we've made a cautious decision to diversify also the type of channels that interact with the customers, but also build a very serious consultancy layer on top of it. And this is where we are a bit unique in this part of the world, where we don't only provide the channels for the customers. And if someone come and ask me for a WhatsApp for business channel, I ask him, what is your business need and what's the KPIs that you have? So the point here is we usually drive the requirements in terms of acquisition, retention, optimization of the operational efficiency, and then we go to the relevant channel with the right use case and the right persona and segments for the customer. So we found that this area is a very specialized, very needed at that time. Customers started to rely on it, especially the CTOs and the CIOs. Commercial team was only focusing at commercial trends. IT was focusing at infrastructure, but nobody's looking at the holistic view end to end. Over time, consumers started to look for personalizations. They want something specific to them. So we connected the dots between these two words, and eventually here we go. Engage X, and it's a coincidence that we have it also with one Engage, that Engage is in the middle of our value proposition, which is the engagement between both business and consumer.
Yeah,
That's the observation.
that's great.
Yeah.
KL, please go ahead.
There are just to most of the thing that Omar says quite close to what we are thinking also. But I just want to give 3 reasons that I think about that why a telco like us want to embark in this journey together with Meta. Yeah. I think the first one is that we cannot separate ourselves from OTT. Yeah. OTT is actually part of the telco digital ecosystem, right? It's a symbiosis. Yeah. The more people use application on top, the more data we sell. Actually, we have to think like this. Like electricity cannot be complaining about refrigerator and TV. Yeah. Yeah. So in terms of ecosystem, I think that's given. And telco is one of the best partners for Meta. Actually, you think about it, we are very good in SMS. Before all these things, SMS was using for some of the business usage. And just in case, Kevin, you remember in Max's days, we got BlackBerry. It's also quite close, and telco is the one who do it very well on that. I think today the next generation will be WhatsApp business. Yeah. And we believe we can do well. Also, we have done well for the previous 2. And this is an ecosystem that we must work together with our partners and grow. The second reason is that I just came from this forum just now. Telco become a techco. And they asked the question, how do you justify all this business here in a telco environment? I told them, very simple, you go to the board. When you present about this kind of business, you must say it's a non-telco revenue and incremental. Then the board understand and agree and approve. Because most of the time, telco say, I want to do digital, they're actually using data margin to subsidize the content. It's not really digital business. But this is pure, really non-telco business, right? And we build, as Omar was saying, building consulting services and platform business on top. Last year, we are 90-10, and 90% of the reselling revenue come from Meta, 10% come from services. This year, we are already about 70-30. We hope by end of this year, we'll be 50-50. So platform business and consulting services and integration services will become bigger and bigger. So as you can see, partnering in this manner will help us to grow non-telco revenue. And some revenue really only belong to us, not just WhatsApp. Yeah. Last one is that it's a very interesting thing because being a telco, we always want to protect our base. We always look at the cup half empty, but you should look at half full. Yeah. Because with just my telco alone, only can serve certain segment of the market in Indonesia. But with WhatsApp, you should open your mind, is 200 million WhatsApp users in Indonesia. By tapping on this space, through the enterprise track, I can serve beyond my own base. And that is an opportunity. So I think these are the 3 reasons I look at why we go into this track.
I think very good points, what you mentioned, right? And, the way you all look at the whole business is totally different from how telcos look at the business. And you're very right to take it out of the mainstream and run it as your own end-to-end, like both of your own, KL and Omar, what you all are doing with One Engage and EngageX. Okay, great. Paul, how does Meta support CSPs, right, to market and sell the service? Since we know CSPs are really experts in selling their commodity, which is voice and SMS and data. But, how do you all, as a strategic partner in this sense, support them, support these new people, new CSPs coming on board as well?
I think you hit the key critical point right on point, which is the folks on this panel as well as this industry are really experts in this area, and our job is to be of support, make sure we're unblocking as well as creating new opportunities as a whole. We do a number of things, but I think I would bucket them into 3 major areas. One is we have been working on WhatsApp business messaging as a platform. It's something we are continuing to invest, but we have a dedicated team focused on the mobile operator or the telco ecosystem. And so within Meta, this is unique in making sure we provide a understanding of this industry specifically and working closely with the telco partners to make sure we're providing the services that are tailored for this vertical. There are certain areas and certain industries this team and this the industry can target much better. So we want to be partners in that journey. Looking at the same time, I talked about it takes about 2 years for this journey to come to a really strong running rhythm. And in that way, we can't build solutions for every solution that our business customers have. And so we've been working in enabling the ecosystem. We have a number of technology partners that build custom solutions that telco BSPs can leverage and build quickly and move and serve the customers that we have. And lastly, probably investing for the future, really quick, which is products. And we're actively listening. We talk to our BSP partners on a regular basis, areas and gaps we have. We want to make sure we're solving within our products and the solutions. So those three, making sure we have a dedicated team that's working on it, thinking about building the ecosystem so that we have solutions and building for the longer term, listening and building products.
Thank you, Paul. We've talked about, the market sizing, why you all actually embarked on it. Now, I think we move to the next phase, Gail and Omar. What were your challenges or lessons learned for, the newcomers who are coming on board? What can you actually share that they don't need to learn the hard way, in things that you've already found out? Omar, you are mute.
Yeah, so I'll summarize it in 5+5 to make it more numerical. The challenges that came starting from the consumer base of who we've been targeting with our solutions. Consumer today have been more tech savvy. They need speed and convenience. Their expectation has been in the rising horizon all the time. They are hyper connected all the time with the mobility, and they are been looking for greater personalization. And when all of these 5 comes from the consumers, the businesses also had their own challenges with another 5. They used to have multiple service providers, the IT and the CTOs, the technology guys. They've been always in the infrastructure setup, building one platform after the other. They started to create fragmented journeys to the consumer. So when the consumer comes for an awareness about the brands, the way that you sell the product to him, you try to engage for him on the delivery, and the last thing to give him a support, are totally isolated with 4 or 5 different experiences because of the platform that's been reflected. And especially in the retail, banking, and government, there is a lot of legacy technology infrastructure, siloed data, and unstructured business processes. So I think when I summarize this 5 and 5, I call them always 5 and 5 with my team. I think for the audience here, I would summarize it in 3, and I would say what are the remedies or the tips that we've done. 1, to fix the business processes gaps, we've created a layer called developer advocates. And these are the guys who usually translate the different languages, Chinese, Japanese to English, or etc. But their job in life is only to connect the dots. So we knew today that we cannot go to the CTO and demolish all the infrastructure that he bought with multi-million-dollar, kill all of these back-end systems. And we said, you know what, don't worry. We will create a new aggregation layer that will allow us to talk to your different applications, whether it's OEMs and platforms or in-house developed. And this layer is being managed by a team in my unit called Developer Advocates. This is a very important tip that we've learned over a period of time. And this is where we was able to expose the relevant channels, be it WhatsApp for Business, email, or voice or video, irrelevant of what's the back-end application. So at the end of the day, the consumer will be able to be served in WhatsApp for Business, will be able to buy the product in WhatsApp. He will be also notified on the delivery in WhatsApp, and he will be able to raise a ticket in WhatsApp. Now, how many systems in the back end? It doesn't matter, because there is a very thin layer of an aggregations developed and managed by a team called Developer Advocate. And we've intentionally called it advocates to avoid taking the role of the customer themselves, because the customer is a customer, he has an ego. He said, you cannot teach me what to do. This guy is only an advocate for you, and he will just help you to do that. And by the way, even the code that we develop, we give the intellectual property to the customer. This was one of the major challenges that we've learned the hard way, because once we've onboarded people on those channels, we have not seen the adoption, and our money comes from the adoption. So we ensure today that's been linked to the business processes and reflect what's there. The second challenge that we've learned over time to create consistency and credibility with the customer, you need to show them the North Star. And this is where we wanted to say, fine, you are addressing this use case, you are addressing this problem, but guess what? For you to have a customer support use case using messaging, you need to fix your acquisitions. You are acquiring the wrong segments in the wrong product. You need to define a new acquisition strategy. You need to fix those base of the customers. And that's why this channel is not really working, or the adoption will not be there. So that's why we came up with the second layer, which is our customer experience consultancy, and we call them now CX Growth Engine. And they are in charge of your growth. And these guys are only people who comes in suits and have PowerPoint presentations. So there is no technical solution. There is nothing. They make sure today that they stay close to the business users and they just massage them and talk to them nicely to let them change the mindset of the end-to-end journey. So don't focus at a fulfillment problem or a delivery problem, or I know that you have a new credit card that you want to have an acquisition. Go and fix the whole end-to-end experience and have your North Star customer experience. Now, if you want to do it over 6 months, 1 year or 2 years, it's up to you, but you need to have that big billboard white in front of you with all of your team and all of your organization. The last but not least, and I think it's one of the areas that we started to see rising, and it's a very interesting topic. We have some of the answers and we don't have some, which is the fraud. And I think this is an arising topic that is creating pain to all of not only the customer experience providers, but also the telcos. And usually the telcos get blamed. It comes in the mobile device, it comes in a way or another. And regardless of what you do, telco is the problem. I think with this one, we've been successfully able to overcome majority of these challenges by running different security requirements, encryptions, and additional layers of verifications for people to be onboarded into these channels. But I think this is an area that it will not be solved 100%, and there is a consistent development and investment that we as industry players have to do all the time to avoid really losing the credibility of these channels. I summarize them in 5+5, plus the last 3 takeaways and the tips to help the audience. That's it.
Thank you, Omar. You know, even during those days as well, when we first started, SMS also had a lot of fraudulent transactions and stuff like that. But I think if we have a bit of time, we'll allow Paul to maybe comment on that part of it. But I want KL to share engage, challenges and lessons learned as well. Go ahead, KL.
Yeah, I think for us in this forum who are interested in from telco become a techco, the number one challenge is the unmatched skill sets. Because telco are very good in selling mass product and simplify and very price sensitive. But when we go into this route, reselling the usage of WhatsApp, the people that can go and see the customer is enterprise, and most of the time they're just like what Omar is saying, solution driven, right? You have to come from the sales team is a different sales team from the normal enterprise who sell SMS or mobile lines or telco bandwidth. These are very different. They are trying to solve the customer problem, the business problem from you. So the sales teams and the consulting team are totally different people because you're in enterprise. The second one is very important for us to understand the challenges is that whatever we try to leverage on the telco sales team, let's say you change your people, but the people they talk to also different in the organization. And most of the time in the telco, we talk to the procurement. That's the only thing you do. But in this case, you are talking to the CMO, the CEO, right? Like the people who drive a different direction come out a game changer. You see, like Ritesh was talking about. So you had to talk to him because he had to believe that WhatsApp can change his telco business, right? You talk to procurement and say, why? Can we do an RFP and make it cheaper? Or why don't you use my own SMS? You know, it's very different conversation. So I think this one, when you go into this business, that's why we think you should spin off and set up a separate entity to really focus on this. The people are slightly different. Yeah. I think that is a key takeaway that I want to leave it. Of course, there are many other things, but this is one of the major one.
Thank you. Do I do basically really agree with what you say, coming from a telco background. Paul, quickly before we don't have much time, I think maybe what Omar brought up in terms of fraudulent transactions and stuff like that, maybe you want to share what Meta has been doing to make sure that these are being addressed. Sorry, you're on mute.
I think probably the number one phrase that we hear on the internet, you're on mute. I do want to stress on the point that KL just mentioned and Omar referenced. Having a dedicated team working on this business is probably a key factor in the success. And many of the partners we work with, being able to have air cover of dedicated KPI has been a huge win. So we want to make sure that other teams know. In terms of what we talked about, having bad actors on the platform, it is an area we actively listen to. And so it goes into some of the areas I talked about, how Meta is supporting this ecosystem. We have a dedicated team that listens on this all the time. And so anytime there is an issue, anytime we hear reports, within hours, we have a SLA of how we think about this problem. We make sure we review that and we resolve that issue as soon as we hear and understand. However, just having people solve these problems aren't going to solve. So we've been investing. With one word we have not said too much in this forum is artificial intelligence, but we leverage Gen AI in the platforms that we have for our own use, and we are actively leveraging this technology to be able to capture and act on the bad actors on the platform immediately. And so looking at how we're supporting our team, our products and technology, and building that ecosystem goes back to what we're doing on this area as well.
Thank you so much, Paul. It's almost time for us to wrap up the panel. So any last words any one of you all would like to say? If not, I will hand over to my colleague, John David Kim. And basically, it's on AI. So very nice. Paul has started with that last statement with AI, and we'll have the other panel. Okay. Thank you, Omar. Thank you, KL. And thank you, Paul.
Thank you,
Great.
Kevin,
the
for
opportunity.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
Great. Thank you very much, everyone. And thank you, Kevin. You've taken up 2 minutes of my time already. Okay. Great. Fantastic. Okay, Nikolai. Right. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. And my name is John David Kim, and I'm the AI industry lead and head of Digital Transformation Acceleration Forum community at GSMA APAC. Now, I hope you found the first 2 sessions really interesting and really informative. This third session will be a general overview session on the status of AI and Gen AI, and really focus on the related opportunities and challenges for telcos and the wider digital ecosystem. Now, for this session, I've invited 3 leading industry experts from the mobile ICT sector to participate in this panel. Around opportunities and challenges of generative AI for telcos. So the first panel speaker is Sumin Bay, who's the SVP at KT, where she leads generative AI research and development of KT's a large language model, Midum, which means, I think in Korean means faith or belief, okay? And Sumin was recently appointed as Chief Responsible AI Officer at KT to ensure KT's AI technologies and services to be safe and trustworthy. So, Sumin, welcome. Second panel speaker is Abhishek Biswal, who's the Chief Business Officer at Digital Services at Airtel. And Abhishek has a rich background in product and business strategy and in the startup sector, and has held various pivotal roles in Middle East and India across industries like construction, travel, real estate, and telecoms, and so forth. So welcome, Abhishek. And third speaker is a good friend of mine as well, Nikolai Doverstein from Kearney. Nikolai is a global leader of Kearney's communications, media and technology practice, and the managing partner of the Malaysian practice. So he has really extensive experience in advising multiple businesses and digital transformation programs of technology companies and telecoms operators in Southeast Asia, India, Middle East, and Africa. So welcome to you all. Great. So to kick off the first question, I mean, I'm sure the audience is very interested to really hear the latest and about your thoughts and your views about the current status of AI. And there are a couple of questions that I want to ask each of you. First question, I'd like to ask Assuming Bay from KT, in relation to, what are the promising areas for telcos to really adopt Gen I, along with, the potential challenges that the telcos may face. So, Sumin, your comments, please.
Thank you for the introduction. So telecommunication company have several promising areas for generative AI. So KT itself is have developed large language model medium, as you mentioned. It stands for kind of trustworthiness and reliability. And since we have our own large language model, we are trying to apply this AI capability to many of our customer service or our internal services as well. For example, KT has contact center, which is the largest in South Korea, and where 7,000 consultants are working. But it's really hard to receive all the incoming calls. So now AI medium is receiving all the incoming calls, and only the relevant requests are transferred to human consultants. And this increase the efficiency and quality as well. And the job satisfaction of consultants also increased. And after each call, AI had to summarize all the conversation. And this summarization is very important for further processing and follow-up. And in addition to this customer service, we have our network capability.
Okay.
And that is very important
now we can
for
hear
this
you.
area.
Yeah, sorry, you went mute for the last 10-15 seconds. Sorry.
Oh, really?
Yes.
It's okay. What have you heard?
Could you repeat the last maybe 15 seconds, please? Yeah, it just went completely mute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so in addition
Just last
to this
15 seconds,
customer service, we are trying to apply this to since KT, all the telecommunication have the network capability, and since KT has cloud service and private network service, we are providing private AI infrastructure to our partners. Since KT has a lot of the trustworthy partnership relationship, KT is delivering responsible AI and sovereign data and confidential computing to our partners in this generative AI era.
Great. It looks like, in relation to the call center service and so on, could you just comment on how productive has your productivity gone up? Were you able to quantifiably measure that?
Okay, so in terms of productivity, let's say in average, it's a 50% productivity increase. Yeah.
Wow.
So for the customer service, the human consultants can receive more calls, or they can get involved in more meaningful jobs and tasks.
Great. And of course, I think, and this is a most important topic, I suppose, for telcos in terms of cutting costs. How effective has that been?
So because we have our own model, we can determine the size of the language model. So we actually estimate the cost, and so we match the cost and benefit. So we do that computation and engineering to reduce the cost as well.
Okay, great.
We never increase the cost due to AI. We try to match the original cost.
Okay, great, fantastic. Okay, thanks for that. Thanks for that insight, Sunmin. Abhishek, I turn to you. Okay, the same question. with your background in startups, and how do you see opportunities for innovating, for example, startups in relation to this as well, okay? In terms of introducing innovative services, opportunities, and how you can link it to maybe the startup sector as well, please, yeah.
No, so I'm gonna take a cue from what Sonmin said. I think for a telco, right, the most promising area which is going to provide high value as well as feasibility essentially is the interaction part, right? Which is where she talked about how the voice bot in a contact center really brought down the number of interactions that the agents were doing, thereby reducing one cost of the agent as well as providing faster, better resolution to the customers, right? I think for Airtel, we do more than 100 million interactions a month. So for us, this is meaningful value addition, right? And and there is diversity in terms of language, time of day, the kind of person they want to talk to, the kind of problems that customers have, right? That scale at a human level is impossible, other than actually dumping more and more people, right? And I was smiling because when she said 4,000 agents, I was looking at my 5-7 times more number of agents that we could really work on, right? And just beyond this, and if I look at the kind of data that telcos hold, right? If we can provide a framework where this data can be used ethically and responsibly, right? Significant number of hyper-personalized solutions can be created for our customers, right? And they could be in the network optimization layer, where just for our own captive usage, right? Figuring out what is the best way to improve performance, prevent outage, to create predictive insights for our customers at the network layer is a large win, right? And I'm still talking about captive use cases like the contact center in the network. But going out, things like fraud detection and prevention, right? It's a big use case. You can create that not just for telco, because we are a large postpaid company as well, but you can also create it for the large banking and financial institutions out there. And now, what's the underlying challenge if you really look at it, right? Telcos are sitting on this data. They're sitting on heaps of data. Investment into infrastructure is never a problem, right? Where does the problem really lie, right? And essentially, to make this meaningful, what should the telco do versus what should it partner on? Right. So if I just look at the challenges, and that's where the partnerships will really sit, is ensuring data quality and availability. That's a challenge for us. We've built a large organization over several years, right? Which is essentially always going to carry some legacy. And cleaning up legacy is always an investment that telcos have to consistently do. So high quality data is going to be the cornerstone of effective AI models. And that is an investment that the telco must do, because nobody else is going to ever do that for you, right? Handling sensitive customer data while complying with regulations is the other challenge. And today, the telcos are best positioned to do it because they have to do it based on their license conditions around the world, right? I think the challenge that we face today, and the biggest challenge, is the skill gap in a telco. I think a lot of us are very good at doing what we do and very bad at unlearning what we do, which means for us to pick, and I should start using I and not us, because I don't want to offend my colleagues here, but as a telco, right, it's extremely difficult for us to move to something else because the inertia, the innovator's dilemma that we sit on is huge. That is, I think, the biggest need for partnership. And that's where, if I sort of wear my startup hat on, that's the platform I can build and federate out to startups to really build interesting products, right? Whether they solve use cases of a telco or they solve use cases of the industry. I think there is significant value creation possible. With that value creation, we will invest further in these models. We will invest further in cleaning up more data. We'll invest further in enriching the platform that could then generate value, right? So I think I'm sort of summarizing, but for us the value is how do you sort of clean up the underlay, make that ready, platformatize it, and federate that out on a overlay of partnerships. So that's, in my opinion, that's the picture that I would really like to see going forward.
Through effective partnerships with ecosystem players such as innovative startups and so forth, right? That's
Absolutely.
Definitely, yes, great, Abhishek. That actually, I totally agree with you there. And Nikolai, I mean, what's your view? I mean, just listening to Sun Min and Abhishek, okay, I would really like to hear the industry consultants' view of this topic, please. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I won't go maybe too much in the opportunity. It's very clear. I think the focus of AI today is customer services. It's a marketing, so hyper offers, marketing materials, and of course networks. I think, and you had a session I think a couple of weeks ago. So I think it's very clear we see it, and I think for the current 3 focus areas. But and it clearly has value creation potential. We see it at 20-30% more than the value impact than traditional predictive AI. But it has also some key challenges, and Abhishek just started to talk about it. You know, I think obviously not everyone like Katie can do a local LLM. I think you have to have the right internal capability, data quality. You have to have responsible use of AI. And you have to also think about, I think, as I think Sun Min also said, the workforce transition is important to think through, because obviously, just speaking to a board of a BPO a couple of days ago, and it's clear the writing is on the wall for a BPO, and they really have to transition. But I think the most important challenge, I believe, is how to drive value from AI. When we speak to our clients, 75% of organizations, 75% do not have a plan how to deliver value from AI. They're doing a lot of activities, and 80% do not know how to scale AI. So what we actually believe is that the operating model and governance are key. I think what we typically see organizations focusing on what we call the cool part, building AI use cases. It captures everyone's attention, 70% of the discussion on it, but actually we believe it only contributes maybe 20% of the success. The real challenge is sort of what is really hard, how to drive the enablers to ensure AI use cases can find a path to scale. And that is actually 50% of the success, but today only 10% of the discussions. And there's a lack of alignment across functions, I think the misalignment on quality and fit of data. And I think that what I mentioned earlier, the limited focus on business outcomes. And here is what we see where AI leaders are really focusing on. They're making sure the right enablers are in place. They're making the right choices in the operating model, the people strategy, the capability building, process changes, so that you really embed and scale AI. And they also articulate, and I think we believe it's important, the governance model and the principles and guidelines to ensure ethical and responsible use of AI. Because you have to have insurance with compliance with our laws, you have to safeguard privacy requirements. And we all know we have seen the big failures if you don't pay attention to it. The governance is not in place, you have leakage of CD data, you have regulatory fees, fines, you have straight losses. So really important to pay attention here. Back to you. You're muted, John.
Okay, that's great, Nikolai. Yeah, I mean that brings me to the next question, and data sensitivity, security, a government trust by the government, trust by the regulators. Okay, the effective use, ethical use of data and information, and so on. The next question that I'd really like to ask you, and this also, I'd like to also allude to what Abhishek mentioned as well, and of course a previous discussion I've had with Sun Min. Now, being able to introduce, for example, enterprise AI services or even sovereign AI services and so on. Okay, Abhishek, I mean, I'd like your views, based on what you mentioned just before, and how you actually see it happening, working with the ecosystem players around you, but keeping the telco in the center, please.
Yeah. No, I think for us, as telcos, and let me call this sovereign AI, right? If we go with the assumption that sovereign AI is essentially going after the same regulation that data sovereignty would have, right? Essentially, a telco is very well positioned today because at least if I understand India, right, due to the strict regulation that the telcos today sort of work in, we already have expertise in handling highly sensitive data, and all of this within sovereign borders, right? So today, if I look at the kind of infrastructure we run just to ensure sovereignty, we probably be one of the largest enterprises in the country to do that, right? And essentially, telco status also, from a government point of view or from a regulated industry point of view, is a national entity, right? Most telcos are national entities in the countries that they operate them in, right? And it makes them natural partners for governments and regulated industries, right? Because essentially, our ability to maintain data sovereignty is the bedrock of the promise that we give both to our consumers as well as the government, right? Local presence, understanding of regional nuances, having the underlying data, linked to hyper localization is the other piece that, sort of if I look at the ingredients required for this, these are two key ingredients, right? But if I look at the stack, a telco may not be able to offer the entire stack themselves. And that's where this whole partnership between, let's say, a hyperscaler, who has the intelligence, the technical understanding to build this, the data to really optimize, consolidate, as well as personalize the models for that country, the ability to run sovereign compliance on that data and the output, essentially is the set of ingredients that are must have for this.
Yeah.
Additionally, if you look at enterprise use cases, today we would be happy to say that we touch most enterprises in the country, right? Because Airtel at least also has a B2B business, right? So we do touch the enterprises. GTM and access to the end enterprise as customer is also very natural to a telco, right? Because you're almost physically connecting their offices, their data centers, and their branches, right? So if you get the telco to stitch this end-to-end solution with a technology provider, with a data unit, as well as access to enterprises, I think that's really very fulfilling for the solution that we're looking at, right? And also we are a very large horizontal player. So if you look at the data that resides on us, for a particular industry, we will have a large amount of horizontal data. So even sort of uplifting the benchmark or the baseline of what a model should deliver for an industry, I think that baseline will be very well created with a telco as a partner. So I think today, this is what the customer is actually struggling with. Can you give me a baseline model which really works well for my industry, is safe, is ethical, and is sovereign? The minute you do that, enterprises will jump, because then the additional cost that they will have to put in to really make it meaningful for them is going to be very small, and they will see ROI jump out very quickly. So that's, if I were to sort of say, this is that triangle of government, telco, and the hyperscalers really what should come in place and solve this problem.
Yeah, Abhishek. Well, thank you very much for your insight, really. And that actually brings me to Min, because I think KT is a very good example of what it's doing. Working, collaborating with other ecosystem partners. So Min, would you like to explain what you're doing with other ecosystem partners to enable enterprise and sovereign AI, please? Yeah.
Okay. KT itself has 50 subsidiaries, including bank and credit card company. So KT handles not only communication data, but it also handles financial data as well. So data security and privacy has been the key asset in the KT's telco business already. And we are working with a lot of partners, startups, building up the ecosystem. KT is actually one of the big players in South Korea, building up AI ecosystem from very, very low end neural processing unit to high-end AI application. So KT has invested in many startups. So we are pursuing the full stack strategy. So not only we have our own large language model, but we have our partner who are making very efficient neural processing unit for this type of transformer large language model. And we also have many AI startups who are making AI application based on our large language model. So we are having this ecosystem. And also I didn't mention in the first question, but actually KT also has legacy infrastructure. That is something we have to overcome to move to the new AI company. So KT already claimed it is transforming from telco to AICT. That stands for AI, integrating AI and ICT. And so we are doing the internal transformation as well. So we are applying cloud native to our internal operating system. And also that way we can deliver our AI to other companies as well. So first we do that internal transformation and we make that as a business model. And we deliver that transformation solution to other industry sector, including finance or education or even government public sector, because KT itself has many legacy and regulation. It already handles legacy. Or those industry with need to overcome regulation and internal legacy, we are very similar. So it is hard. It is very easy to deliver the requirement and understand their needs. Yeah, thank you.
Right, great. Thank you very much for a very in-depth explanation of KT's activities and KT's AI strategy. I turn to Nikolai. Nikolai, obviously you've heard from Abhishek and Sinmin about the actual transformation that's needed internally and externally. I also like to bring to attention what Abhishek mentioned before about skill sets internally and also externally as well. Would you like to just summarize the whole thing in terms of how this AI, enterprise AI or sovereign AI or AI business model as a whole can go forward together in collaboration with the telcos in the center, working with the ecosystem players, please? Yeah.
No, I really liked what Abhishek said, because I think in principle telcos look very good as the natural sovereign AI provider. They're trusted, national focused. They have the right infrastructure, national infrastructure skills, they provide cybersecurity, and other leading tech companies and hyperscalers might not necessarily have specific national or local interests at heart. And no judgment here, and by definition not single country focused. But the flip side, and I think Abhishek was already alluding to it, is telcos are not necessarily the best enterprise companies. I think there of course there are some really outstanding enterprise telcos, but therefore there are not so many. And as Abhishek said, I think telcos are not always the best in stitching the end-to-end solutions together. So therefore, it's really important, I think, to marry the telco capabilities with other tech capabilities. And I think, and of course, hyperscalers and other tech companies are natural partners. One has to just really think through how the partnership works, because it's easy to say on paper, sounds very good, but they're not partnerships, particularly between telcos and tech companies, are not always easy to structure. And I think that's where I think the government comes in, because I think you can probably really ensure through regulations, through frameworks, how to work together, how to then still ensure that you enable the competition, how to ensure the protection of the consumers, the protection of the data. So I think the final point I want to make, I think the combination of telcos and tech companies as a partnership sounds good, but I think it also depends on where the priorities are and how do you make this for the country, because not everyone wants to be an AI leader. I think Korea for sure. I don't think Malaysia has the ambition to become an AI leader, and I think that's the right choice. But nevertheless, I think you need to make sure you have this concept of AI sovereignty sorted out. Back to you.
Right, thanks. That said, I'd like to get some quick comments following on from that from Sumin, because Sumin, I also understand that KT is doing a lot with other tech companies. Would you like to just mention, how you're working with them, but keeping you being the face in front of the client, supported by these companies, please?
Yeah, so for the full stack strategy, we are working with a lot of the cloud company and some of the large language model company as well. So we are not only using our own model, but we embrace the model from other companies and cloud services from other company too. So we are trying to deliver the integrated solution and services to the partner. So I think KT's position is the company who understands partners' requirement and needs the most. And we know how to handle the regulation and the limitation and restrictions. So we are trying to combine this innovative part and regulatory part and find the hybrid solution and deliver that to the partner. That's how we work for this AI era. Yeah.
You're becoming a system AI systems integrator. Okay. And lastly, last comments from you, Abhishek, please. Yeah.
I think for me it's more ecosystem. So how do we sort of bridge this divide of data connectivity, infrastructure from a telco, talent and really agile innovation from startups, and a strong underlying technology model with a hyperscaler. I think this ecosystem, if it can be curated, created, it'll really create a difference for our world.
Thanks, Abhishek. Great. And Nikolai, last comment from you. No,
I just go back where I started. I think a lot of value in AI. Key is governance and operating models have to really figure it out. Same with sovereign AI providers. And that's not as easy as it sounds. So one has to really pay attention to it. And I think that's where we see leaders really focusing on. And I think that's where you drive ultimate a lot of value. And the value impact is significant. And telco is probably 8 to 10 percentage points additional EBITDA impact. What we have seen, that's outstanding. So important to get this right. Thanks.
Right, thanks. Well, thank you very much. Well, just before we finish up, we also saw the sessions 1 and session 2, and that was all about collaboration. Telcos working with, for example, companies like Meta and so on. And I think even in the AI environment, in AI era, nothing can be done on their own. And telcos need to stay in the model, but also need the support from the various tech companies and so on to really fully provide the end-to-end value proposition to the clients, whether it be enterprise, consumer, or government. Okay, but look, I think we're out of time. But Abhishek and Sunmin and Nikolai, thank you very much. I know it was very, very short, but thank you very much, and I really, really appreciate your insight and input here. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Rahul, over to you. Rahul? There's a slight... Okay, Rahul, are you there? I think you're on mute.
Yeah. No, I think I'm back on. My internet connection just went down. So apologies if I'm not clear. But if you can hear me, thank you, John. And I really want to thank all the panelists, our moderators, our colleagues who helped to organize the event. And thank you to the audience for joining. I hope you absorbed a lot of valuable insights from the panelists today. We'll be posting a recording of this event